Hi, hello, it's Jules the Human here, and welcome to the Jules and Man Anime Hour. I'm one of your hosts, Jules the Human, and every week we go into the world and watch a little bit of anime, and then we come back here and we talk about it. Today we're talking about Black Summoner, episode 5 through 8. Sorry, 5 through 8 of Black Summoner.
I was like, oh no.
Oh no, that would have been bad. That would have been funny. No, 5 through 8 of Black Summoner. If you haven't gone and seen it, go watch it, or just wait for us to recap it for you. We'll let you know what we think about it. But I don't go on these anime journeys alone. I go with my co-host Matt Galley. Matt, how are you doing this week?
Doing great. Very, very surprised by where we're at right now in the show. I can say that it definitely didn't go where I expected. Where like my more pessimistic side thought this show was going to end up
Sure.
going. I'm pleasantly surprised in some ways, but there's also a lot of other stuff that we got to talk about.
For sure.
I'm excited to get into it this week for sure.
If you haven't seen this show, or if you haven't seen us cover Black Summoner, we covered 1 through 4 in the last episode. So go check it out on YouTube or on Spotify. You can watch Spotify, the videos over there. Or if you haven't seen any of the other anime shows that we've done it for so many other anime. And this is where we rank them. We've ranked quite a bit of anime already. On the left is me, on the right is Matt. And we rank them S through F. And then we have a bunch of anime to get to. We pick one, we draw one after we're done with an anime. And next week is when we're going to draw for the next anime, because we're going to be finishing the first season of Black Summoner next Wednesday or Friday if it comes out, if you watch on YouTube or Spotify. But we're already almost done. We're halfway through pretty much. And we just got to get through these and we got to discuss what we think about it. Hello, everybody watching live on Twitch, twitch.tv/JulesTheHuman. But we got to get going. What in Black Summoner happened in episode 5, Daughter of the Demon King?
So Kelvin and his party battle with Victor until Victor finally jumps to the defense of Sarah, revealing that he is actually her caretaker. Victor shares how Sarah ended up in the position that she's in, asking Kelvin to have her join the party before he passes away. Sarah awakens after overhearing his explanations. Joining the group, Sarah returns to Parth under the disguise of a rescued adventurer, and a party awaits for Kelvin as he's promoted to A rank. Then falling asleep after the party, he awakens in the middle of the night to overhear Sarah reminisce on a promise made between her and Victor, looking up into the night sky, asking him to always watch over her.
Wow. So we got a lot of this new character that we meet, Sarah. We have a lot of interesting story work between her, what we find out to be her caretaker, who is also the demon that's an S class, right? He was S class
He
demon.
was an S-class demon, yes.
So we get a
S-class
huge,
gluttony demon.
yeah, we get a huge fight because that's what it led up to in episode 4. But we go back to the 3D animation, the change of the animation again. It's almost like it's always whenever the ghost knight is there is that they change the animation, because later on in another episode they just stick with the same animation. I'm like, oh my god, this looks great. Like in the big scene in episode 7, all that stuff, I'm like, cool, why can't we do that when the ghost knight is there? Whenever the ghost knight appears, he's almost always in a different kind of
His
animation.
aesthetic has forced the animators to like go with a different style whenever he's
Why?
involved, and it's something that could have just been largely avoided.
Yeah, it's just kind of off-putting. I don't really get what the choice was there. Is it a timing issue? Was it like not having enough time to do it, or budget or something like that? I don't know. I'm not a big fan. The blues in the fight though, like whenever it went blue, I was like, "Oh, that looks gorgeous." I don't know why that popped out to me. A lot of this anime, the colors still get me because again, it was made not too long ago and the color looks gorgeous. It's a really pretty anime. We get this whole flashback for Princess Sarah. Does this set up the character well for you? Like, do you understand her MO? Do you understand what's going on with her story and her father as the Demon King.
Yeah, I like that's the thing. I think just for starters, we can say that she's much better set up than Ethel was in the
Yeah,
way that they
sure.
handled that. So I'm pleasantly surprised that we actually get another, a female character introduction where her immediate like, motivation by the end of the episode is not actually related to Kelvin. And that was really refreshing
Yes.
to me, where it's like she's not out to make, Kelvin happy or make Kelvin fall in love with her or anything like that. She wants to see the world. All she knew was a manor house where she got trained day in and day out because she had to be kept secret politically for political reasons, basically.
Mhm.
And so I totally buy into this character that's like never seen the outside world before, and then we get all of these shots of her coming into town, and like she's just so excited to see the people and like see the food and the stalls, and she's like, how can so many things just be happening in one place?
Mhm.
That's incredible. I love that aspect of her character for sure.
Do
uh,
we ever get why or how the Demon King fell? I don't know if we get that
the
lore.
hero,
The the hero.
just that's what we get. The hero finally came and came with a massive army and laid waste to the Demon King's castle, and that's why the Demon King knew, if I send my daughter off, she can live a peaceful life in this world that this hero is now going to create. Like, she doesn't have to be a part of this.
Mhm.
And Victor was like, "That's selfish. Is that really what you think that she'd want?" But he's like, "I don't care. It's my choice."
And I also love the whole Victor story character dilemma here where he's like, I care about this girl. And it was really interesting to see him switch, right? Where he was like telling him in episode 4, I'm gonna eat her and all this stuff to try and protect her. We didn't know that,
Yeah,
but I'm gonna eat her, I'm gonna kill everybody, whatever, whatever. But then once it got down to it, we see him protect her whenever she was about to get hurt by something falling on her. And then we see that change right before he dies. And he's like, here's everything. Here's
yeah,
what's going on. And I didn't think this would happen, but I got bested here in this battle of all this teamwork, which was really good, cool to see.
hmm
I got bested here, and now you're gonna have to, if you could, please, would you do this for me?
hmm
And then she gets concealed as a human with this magic item that her Demon King father left for her,
hmm
and now she can live freely as a human, sort of human passing, I guess. That's so cool. I love the
yeah,
character of Victor. Dug what they came out with that, and was really happy for the first half, for most of it, except for the 3D animation. I don't
yeah,
know. It's all it's a good story. Um, I'll get into it a little bit later, but you get a huge party after getting rank A, and then we see him Kelvin just being, relieved, I guess, and
yeah,
just not fearing anything. Um, Throughout this is a theme that I don't know if if I'm that type of enjoyer of an anime where there's a OP character and we're just watching them go,
hmm
because through this battle, through the next battle that we're going to talk about, he doesn't break a sweat.
sure.
And like that's cool. I get it. I get what they're trying to do, that he has these insane powers, but like I want to see, it would mean so much more if we saw him work for it, I think. Like a Black Clover or something like that, where they have to work for the things that they get and the outcomes. And I don't know, what does it feel like to you, Kelvin, building off of episode 1 through 4 and then going into these battles that we see in these next 4 episodes? Like, are you on board with Kelvin as a person?
Like, as a person, as a protagonist of an isekai, I think that the show is leaning away towards making is beginning to lean away from making him a blank slate and trying to make Kelvin more of a character with very clear defined personality traits once they kind of everybody showcased, that they call him a battle junkie and stuff, and that like that's what he is. It's like, okay, then like that's not a blank slate character
Sure.
for us, the audience, to kind of, relate to. He's trying to it's trying to relate to a specific like, characteristic for sure. So he becomes more of a character and less of an idea. And I think that the show is starting to lean more into wanting to set up these characters in order to like almost setting up these characters just to see what they do within their environments, right? I think along the lines of it being related to like a JRPG, where a really good JRPG doesn't immediately throw everything in your face. It really lets you connect with the characters and that their stories. That way, this 100+ hour game you're about to play, the story later on can like hold weight and stuff. Obviously, this is a 12 episode anime, not a 100+ hour game, but I think it's trying to be more like that on that level of storytelling than something like a power scaling fantasy, because from the get-go we saw him get all of these powers, and we know that he sold his memories in order to have better like starting conditions in this world. So it was I really feel like it never set me up to have an expectation of who's the big bad. It was just kind of like a, what is out there, what's in this
Hmm.
world, and what are we going to find. And like as we finish this arc and we get our last companion for the group, so to speak, that's exactly what I'm like, okay, now where do we go from here? And the fact that we immediately get the show setting up, all right, we're going to a different country, like we're
Hmm.
going to go somewhere new, we're going to go somewhere fresh, we're going to be somewhere different. that's that gives the show promise to me, at least at this point.
I think it's just me as a viewer needing to switch my mindset, because when I see the menus, whenever I see like power or abilities, people gaining abilities over time, I instantly want to like, okay, let me see their progression. But this along with another idea I'm going to talk about later, um, I have to switch my mindset to be like what you were saying was, it's not about the power, it's not about what and how good he is, it's about he's good, what else? And I think I have to switch my brain because I want to find him as a character evolving, but
Yes.
the show is peeling back layers rather than him evolving up, that they're already there, but now they're showing more of his personality. So for me as a viewer, it's something a little difficult for me to like enjoy or try to enjoy or switch of what I'm used to.
And I also think, again, get to go along with setting him up as more of a character, this whole interaction that he has with Victor makes him more of a character, because he had a chance to go in for the kill on the monster or whatever. He didn't. They talked it out, and he listened to what this demon had to say, and this plead that this demon gave him, and he, at the end of the day, he was like, i'm gonna I'm gonna keep I'm gonna hold up your wish. I'm gonna do what you asked of me, and I'm gonna put her in my party, and I'm gonna show her the world.
Mhm.
And as he's going up there, Ethel's like, wait, she could become the Demon King, the next Demon King. That's what we're on the lookout for, or whatever. And his response is, well, I really made a big mess, didn't I? And so, like, again, I feel like that's giving him more of a character. He's somebody that will take responsibility for his actions, and I think that's what we see him try to kind of employ in the next fight that happens. He
Mhm.
tries to really get somebody to understand, hey, you need to be able to like think about the weight and consequences of your actions. So he becomes more of like, I don't know if you've watched Shield Hero. Anybody in the audience
I
that's
don't think I
watched
have.
the first season of Rising of Shield Hero, that show also plays with this concept of this rolling force that isn't really a power scaler, but there's somebody that just makes a difference in the world by being the person that they are.
Very cool. Elle said, such great production quality. We're trying. We're trying. Thank you, Bubsy, for the 35 months. I appreciate it. You saw my lights going off back there. Thank you
That's
for the
what that
35
was.
months. I appreciate it. We don't have alerts for you, but I'm sorry, but we got the lights going.
Next time.
Thank you so much for 35 months. We're talking about Black Summoner episode 5 through 8. And let's get into episode 6. What happens in episode 6? Rice and Thieves and Heroes.
So episode 6, we briefly get to see Sarah agreeing to the contract, becoming a part of their party. We then see Kelvin showcase all of the new gear that they've been making, and then he has this sudden urge for rice. He wants to eat rice. He's not, in the real world and the region that he's in, there's rice doesn't exist. So they set out to travel to new land. After he becomes depraved of rice. Melfina departs yet again to attune to one of her avatars and then en route to this new land of Toraj. The group would get ambushed, but would quickly wipe up the problems, then interrogating the ambushers for information. After arriving in Toraj, Kelvin and the party would meet Mist, the guildmaster, and while explaining their problems, Kelvin would interject with his own plans, Mist going along with it. Kelvin goes on to clear out the bandit hideout ahead of the heroes that Mist would be sending right behind them. The heroes would arrive to the hideout with Kelvin having them believe that he is the leader of the Black Wind bandits that they have been set out to defeat.
We may shit on this anime for a little while, a lot in that first episode that we talked about it, but there are some really cool shots.
There are some good moments in this show. I'm
This
not
one
gonna
is one
sit
of
here and
my
act like it's not.
favorites. This shot, it's great for screen grabs. It's so good. Hello Dan, a little late, but I'm here. Hello, welcome in. So we get like some new gear, and I brought it up the last when we were talking about episode 5 about me switching my mindset. A lot of this feels more slice of life
Yeah,
style, plus harem, of course, because he has a party of people, mostly girls.
mostly
But
girls.
like this, I have to switch because whenever I see swords and fighting and stuff, I automatically want to go shonen. Shonen fighting, this is it. Here's my resolve and all this stuff. And we have an OP character that can do whatever, and they're having parties and they're hanging out, and there's this
He keeps
vibe
talking
of
about just wanting freedom. Like, I'm an adventurer that just likes to wander around and fight a little, and then they're like, "A little?
yeah, a little, yeah.
Come on."
So we in this one we get like a lot of slice of life because they're just hanging out, getting new armor, building new armor, and then all of a sudden he's like, I need rice. So then we have a new motivation. So it all feels super lackadaisical in this world, which is kind of cool.
But it's like,
But
I feel like, again, in the last episode, we were talking about how, the world building of isekai is kind of important, and up to now we haven't really seen very strong world building. But just right there, oh, I want rice doesn't exist here, but I've heard rumors that this land, like way far away, this water, this coastal nation, they have rice.
mhm.
Interesting problem right there. That's an interesting problem for our protagonist to have to solve. That's not immediately just big bad person needs to be beaten.
Yeah. Um
I crave rice. There's somewhere to get it. It's far away. Let's go get it.
Sure, man. Why not? And then they get the token D&D bad roll, and they get ambushed by a band of thieves who is part of our main antagonists, Black Wind Thieves, that they handle quite quickly. Who Sarah handles quite quickly because she's an insane level, as well as everybody else in the group. And then we meet this guildmaster Mist, who is quite different than the other
Leo.
guildmaster that we met, which is really cool. So I like the guildmasters. I like how there's heads of the city, and we're actually meeting them. We meet another
Mhm.
queen later on.
One thing that the
But
show didn't give and that Mist didn't give is, we got to see Kelvin scan Leo with his appraising eye. We got Mist even said, Leo was known as the appraiser. we don't see Miss get scanned. We don't get her title. We know nothing about
Sure.
her by the time we leave, and that's just one little thing where I was just like, I just want to know. I just
Yeah,
wanted to know. I'm curious. You've
which
never
makes me
left me hanging
think.
before.
Yeah,
That
which makes me
that's
think
gonna come into
it's
play at some point or something.
yeah,
Maybe.
there's something because there's no why would they be so okay with Kristoff and keep him like satiated here and you know that he's the leader, why would you not do something about it? And I think that's maybe too hopeful that
Yeah, but still,
looking into
it's just
something.
things. It's
Yeah.
things to
Um
ponder.
so we find out that Kristoff is the leader of the Black Winds, but he's also like a national treasure, so they haven't moved in on him. But we also get a lot of in the next coming episodes, we get more information about the heroes of Doremus and how Toya is the leader of the heroes of Doremus. But like
He's like the party
we've
face, but they're all
yes,
heroes.
but they mentioned that he specifically is the hero. He said it a couple times and a lot of people say he's the hero. So is he the hero that killed the Demon King long ago? Probably
Oh,
not,
no.
right?
He
Because
he
there's
he
somebody
he even said,
else.
yeah, he says at some point, I need to kill the Demon King, and he's saying that they got summoned because of the rumors that the Demon King is set to rise again. And so they're there trying to power level and get stronger. That's what I think their setup was, that they got summoned by the priest, the Oracle of Doramus, because she received Oracle that Demon King was coming back. Kelvin got summoned because he was randomly selected and got lucky.
Yeah. But there's another hero that they're talking about that we haven't seen, right?
Oh,
There's
the hero
another
from the last era that
yeah,
ended the last Demon King's reign. I
but we
don't
don't
think that
know.
yeah, we don't know where or if they still exist in this realm.
Mhm. They only got somebody a year before Kelvin, I believe. Yeah. So it couldn't be the same here. I just keep hearing hero get thrown around, and then the
Yeah.
first thing we hear is Toya's the hero, and I'm like, oh, so what? What does that mean? Or Toya is supposed to be the next hero that defeats the Demon King, I guess, or what, however you want to say it. But we get some information on the conflict that's going on. Um, it's it's interesting, huh? I don't know. I it feels like I want more stuff to happen. I want I want more. Um
You
because we're
you
almost
want you
done.
want more stakes?
I want
Like
more
higher stakes?
stakes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
This isn't a stake building, I think. I
this
think
is
this
episode
one's
6.
yeah.
This marks the middle of it. We're in
Yeah.
the middle of the first season. I want more stakes. I want something to make me I need to watch the next one. It all feels super again lackadaisical chill. And while it's cool to see Sarah take down the crew and the colors are super beautiful, I don't know if I'm fully behind on him just going to go get rice. I get it and that's fun, but like I want more. Um I don't know. Did you feel that way? Or are
I
you
mean,
chill?
do I want more? Yes, I could always go with higher stakes if that's like something that the the show's narrative is like kind of presenting, but I think the second we get the Demon King's daughter in our party, the stakes kind of disappear. Like I think that's like kind of the show making a point like, hey, the next potential Demon King is in this guy's party. Quite literally, what could possibly go wrong at this point for him? What
Yeah.
could possibly go wrong? He's a summoner that increases his summon stats by 100, and he's got
We also haven't met
yeah,
the other summoners either, which is interesting because
which
there's 3 other summoners.
there's said to be 3 other summoners, yeah, but even immediately when he loaded in, Milfina was like, uh, "Hello, Melfina." I did it again.
Milfina?
Milfina.
Yeah.
Melfina said, "None of them are even close to being as strong as you." Right when he loaded in. So again, the show is not trying to drive like a sense of urgency
I
into the narrative.
know.
It's not doing that. Do I want it to do that because I think it would make a better experience? Yes. But it's not doing that. So like I have that. I definitely have that part of my brain turned off. And I get that every Thursday because Jujutsu Kaisen's airing every Thursday. So that's when I get my power scaling battle anime
Sure.
fix.
Minfilia is from Final Fantasy 14.
That's right. I was like, where did that come from?
Yeah. And I would call her Milfina because she's yeah.
Anyway,
Um they're very similar. And I was like, okay, cool. So yeah, we get this. It didn't make sense to me at first on what he was actually doing, but then later on I was like, oh, okay, I get what he's doing, but like, okay, cool, whatever. Um, but this shot was really dope. I love them all just being there, that they think that they're the band of thieves that have done wrong, and the showcasing a little bit the group of heroes was kind of cool. I like their personality so far towards the end of episode 6, and I was like, okay,
it
cool.
they're very what's it called? They're very archetypal,
Sure.
and it's nice to still get an archetype party in the show. Off the back of Kelvin's party, who is not archetypal, like they're very subverted expectation of a traditional party. Um, at least the way I'm seeing it. So it's nice that we still get them, and like we get a little bit of them, just enough for that, like, classic party being there, but it's not enough to where I felt like it was boarding down the show and trying to introduce new characters that we were supposed to be committed on. It's like they're there to serve their purpose, and that
Yeah.
that was it. And I liked that it wasn't trying to do too much with them.
Yeah, for sure. Because like you said, they're not like gonna take over the whole show. They are the heroes, but they are supportive characters and they know their place and they're not gonna hog up what the actual story is gonna be later on with Kelvin and the demon king's daughter and all that stuff. So I like the that I can, pick them out and get that archetypal, like, oh, okay, I know what this person's about. I kind of know what this person's about. All right, cool. I'm already up there. We already kind of know. And then they go ahead and meet our group of people. And now in episode 7, Battle with the Heroes, what ends up happening?
So Kelvin provokes and entices the heroes into agreeing to a battle under his terms and conditions. Ethel explains his plans and reasonings for for misleading the heroes before they jump into the fight. Kelvin puts a bunch of pressure on them right away and doesn't relent, beginning to break them down. Infighting occurs between the heroes as Toya makes independent moves instead of moving as a team, and Kelvin points out the faults of all the heroes before proceeding to knock them all out. The heroes awaken to find Kelvin, who explains the situation to them, as well as makes a strange request of Toya that leads into episode 8.
Take your clothes off.
Take your clothes off.
What?
Starts dripping.
Um, I don't. Okay, let's start with that. What was that? Was that him? I read a couple of the Crunchyroll comments. That could possibly be him trying to get more armor to blacksmith and maybe use the armor for something,
Well,
or
in the
he
next
was
episode, he says that, he's heading to their punishment or whatever, and it's by the water. So I think it was trying to be funny that, like, we're getting into bathing suits and we're
yeah,
gonna go fight near the water, haha, because you guys are training now.
yeah,
That's
cool.
my request. You're training under me now.
He wants them to train without their superior gear. Gotcha.
Oh,
Okay,
that too makes
I
sense.
missed that. Oh, one. Um, so this was cool. This is probably my favorite episode so far. I love this battle. This was such a fun battle. Even though it was super one-sided and there was a moral to the story at the end.
Hmm.
I loved this fight. What do you think about this new weapon that he has, Skill Eater, which can steal a skill of somebody by touching them, and he has 2 of them on his hands.
I
Well,
mean,
1 on each hand.
that's again, that I think is just the show again saying there's no possible conceivable way that our protagonist is going to lose any fights. We are going to give him every out, every freaking possibility that he can have to overcome anything that gets thrown at him. I
Mhm.
think that's the way that of the show saying that, because he literally says, I needed a way to overcome fighting, multiple people at one time. Uh he's got like AoE magic already. We saw him blast away those guards with single spells. I don't know. He's just being facetious and he's just being like he's himself being humble, but knows that he doesn't need those at the end of the day, I think. Um
Where do you think his battle junkie comes from in his real life? Was it him just playing a bunch of video games? Or
Probably.
what do you think his old life wanted? Like his old now that we know a little bit more about him, now that we know he's uh not too rough around the edges and he wants people to get better and he sees good and he knows what's good and bad. He seems like a decent person in his real life back on Earth, quote
Because
unquote, but
he like, even when the bandits thing was happening, he was like, "Man, these guys are so weak. I don't want to fight them because I don't want to waste my time. But I got to do something. I can't just leave a bunch of bandits around." So like, he's got some sense of morality to him.
do you
He's
think
got a
he
moral compass
was
that's operating somewhere.
yeah, do you think he was like super weak in his real life? Like we see that whole he was bullied and picked on a bunch as a kid and then now he's got this opportunity. He's like, I want to be powerful. I want to be the most powerful being ever and I don't care about my memories. They sucked anyway. Is that like sort of what you're leaning towards or is there something else that he could
I
have
mean,
came
if I'm
from?
being completely honest, I haven't even stopped to think about it until you
Okay.
asked. So I mean, that's probably what I'm leaning towards.
Yeah.
Because yeah, everything kind of lines up that way.
I just want to know his like what's his story going to be? I we have direction for everybody in his party, pretty much. Evil, not so much. She's free, I suppose. So now she's just doing whatever. But what's his direction, and will he ever figure out what his life was before and why? What's driving him? I don't think we got a clear definition on what's driving him here to just be the best, to just live.
There is a moment that I really liked in the episode 5 after Sarah joins the party and she starts running around all excited, like I said, and he like mentions, he's like, "Huh, look at her so excited because it's her first time in a new world," and he flashes back to when he got originally dropped
Yeah.
in. And yeah, I don't know, maybe somebody that just didn't like the world that they were living in. So when presented the opportunity to go somewhere completely fresh and new and leave everything behind, they were just like, hell yeah, why wouldn't I do that? Take all my memories too. Give me a better start in this new world. Because this one sucks.
I asked that because in this episode we get a lot of backstory on how the heroes Adramus got there to that world. They were
Mhm.
in school and they just got
A
pulled.
magical circle appeared beneath them, and then the next they had a vision of the goddess of reincarnation, and then they woke up.
Yeah, Colette Duramelius summoned them to the world and they were here to save them. Um I don't know if I like that better. I don't understand that part. What is that? What's going on? You know
Well,
what I mean? Like what
I think Colette gave them exposition that like yeah, it shows, I'm Colette, the Oracle of Doremus. I'm the one that summoned you here. Would you hear what I have to say? And then it cuts away, and she probably gave them exposition like, "Hey, I've received this message. There's a great threat, the Demon King, who once did this and that and this and that. We've lived through an era of peace, but now there are signs that he's going to return, and we need heroes to defend our country.
but
We need heroes to defeat him."
the thing that doesn't make sense to me, they got pulled from our world,
Mhm.
but they didn't get any, at least from what we saw, they didn't get any options to choose how to start their life
Yeah, yeah,
like Kelvin
because
did.
they were summoned via, what's it called? They were summoned via an oracle
Yeah.
doing a summoning ritual, and Kelvin was summoned via a like, she says, you were randomly selected to start a new life in this new world.
Well,
That's what we learn about
sure.
Kelvin.
But
So it's a little different, at least.
if every person in this new world of Black Summoner has the ability to pull stat sheets and gain abilities, what makes the humans from our world different than just the Oracle picking four of the strongest people, and saying, "You're the heroes now and you need to help"? What's the difference between people that are already on this world than pulling people from Earth that are basically the same, but they're just learning skills over time? So it makes me
Well, aren't the people
believe.
from that world learning skills over time? Because Ethel, that's basically what Ethel did. She had no skills allocated because she was a slave that had never been owned, and then they like let her choose her skills and stuff. And she's of that world. She wasn't brought into that world.
Yeah. Why couldn't Ethel just been chosen by the Oracle, and it's like, "Oh, I have purpose now, and I'm gonna go train, and I'm gonna learn all the spells and all this stuff." That could have happened and didn't need to pull from another world. They're the exact same. That's what I'm trying to say. I don't get what makes human Earth people have any more resolve or more prone to being a hero. Maybe they just have a hero quality. Yeah, they got something on them. So, like, I get why Kelvin is the hero. I get why Kelvin, because he chose and he had the
Or
ability to pick his slots
yeah,
and all that stuff. But if the Oracle could just state, "I've seen a vision, and Matt, you are the new hero and you're going to save the world." Okay, well, I'm going to learn all these spells and stuff. What's the difference between a Black Summoner world person doing that versus an Earth world person doing that? There's none. So I'm like, what's the point of them coming from another
the
world?
yeah, I mean, if their stat sheets were just granted to them, it's one thing. Maybe it's that, yeah, none of them were gamers. They were maybe like more. I'm not. I'm serious though. Maybe like
Yeah,
they were given that ability to like pick all their stuff out, but they're not like, they're not game brain. They're
they
not
don't know
big
what the
game
fuck.
brain,
They don't know
so
what
they
they're
don't
doing.
know what they're picking, and they just kind of, for lack of a better term, picked loadouts that are already like there. Swordsman, dex fighter, mage, and what's the last one, tamer, whatever. They just picked their little things, but Kelvin was like, oh no, create custom character. I want to locate this point, blah 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 blah. Like, he's getting into it because he's played every RPG that's been released on that side of the earth. um I don't know. It's just, it's made reference, that
Yeah,
every excuse
that's
that it's made for him starting with that stat block was like, yeah, he was like, I must have been a big gamer, and that's where they pretty much leave it.
Yeah, just the introduction of this hero group and us getting to know them a little more, and now we know their backstory, really had more questions for me. But I'm probably looking into it way too much because I'm
But I
just like,
think,
what is
no,
what?
yeah, I think I may have mentioned last episode though, when I uh last week, that why isn't everybody picking like the super overpowered things like double skill points and all that stuff. But then she um why am I forgetting names? Fina uh also mentions how, like, summoners are super rare and there's only a few of them. So it's like, how did he manage to like take summoner for his class or whatever? Do you get a class based on how you allocate your points and stuff, or is it, do you pick your class and then you can allocate points and get skills based on your class? Which is like that? Is it a class based world, or is it a classless world that just gives you a title of a class? Because he operates as a pugilist during this fight when he steals Sarah's power, and he starts
Mhm.
punching back at him while he's sword fighting. He manages to beat an S tier swordsman with his S tier arcane pugilism that he's never used before.
Too much.
It's
Too
a lot.
much.
Yeah, I
We'll
mean,
figure it
like
out.
diving into that is like I mean, I love talking about it and I love theorizing about it, but ultimately I just
I
don't
don't
think
think
the
they're ever
show
gonna.
cares. I don't think the show cares,
The show
and that's
doesn't
the
care.
thing.
It just says, "Write me an isekai." Okay, cool. In this battle in episode 7, I really like the heroic music. They have a really nice theme. I love the theme music in this anime, and some really funny moments because the what was it? The spellcaster girl, the dark mage or black mage, she was like, "You will pay for the years of humiliation that I have suffered."
I've suffered because of you.
Yeah, and he's like, "I'm pretty sure we met today," and that was really funny. I
Yeah.
loved that.
And I love them all hitting their little light fairy, grant me strength, and then it
Yeah.
gets to her and she's like, dark fairy, help me out a little bit.
Yeah, she's
It
like
just kind
that.
of sputters off.
I loved this episode. This episode was so good. We
The
end up
show makes
seeing.
me laugh and it has good moments. Definitely. There are very, very good moments and like enjoyable bits that just get soured by these little itty bitty parts that just make me like roll my eyes and take me out
I
of it, take me back a bit sometimes. But then when it gets out of that stuff gets out of the way, I'm enjoying it. When that stuff's there, I'm just like just wish it was not there.
Mhm. He creates a new spell, Radiance Crossfire, and he says some interesting stuff to them. Like he keeps mentioning the game. Like Kelvin still thinks it's a game. I think in his
I
head.
didn't pick up on him saying that.
He says, grant my wish from the game." And he said the game a couple times in the past, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, does he still think it's a video game, that this isn't real? It's just interesting the way he thinks about it. And he's mentioned the game a couple times, and I was like, this is odd.
Hmm.
We got to get going. Episode 8, returning to Parth, and the goddess arrives. So after that battle, what happens in episode 8?
Kelvin trains the heroes on working in sync and gives Toya a lesson in humility amidst other essential plot points that happen. The heroes depart back to their kingdom, and Kelvin gets amped to go see the monarch of Toraj to discuss their reward. Offering anything that he may desire, the Empress Fujiwara is delighted to hear his request of access to rice. Fujiwara would also attempt to coerce Kelvin and his party into staying under her employment, but Kelvin declines and they travel back to Parth via teleport gate. Kelvin buys a house for his party after they return, making a home for them. And Melfina returns to be summoned as one of her avatars.
Oh wow, it's finally her.
There she is.
A little bit of a letdown, but whatever. I was like, oh,
Well,
okay.
that's one of her avatars. That's not actually her,
But
all
she
right.
said this is like, they look very close to her. So you could fall in love with me again.
Yeah.
And then it's this
I mean,
generic anime girl number 3, purple hair,
to
please.
to to just to draw a parallel using a completely different medium in horror media, something that is told that is indescribably horrific beyond your wildest imagination is always going to be more horrific in your imagination than anything somebody can actually put in front of you. If they tell us she's the most beautiful being that's ever existed, then whatever thought is in our head, the audience, the viewer, is going to be more beautiful and resonant than anything that the show could put in front of us. So the fact that they just give us the goddess in her likeness, yeah, it's definitely not surprising that you,
She
I, or
doesn't live
anybody
up.
else feels
Yeah.
underwhelmed. There may be
I
people where that's exactly what they imagined, and that's great. Good on you guys. But that's
I
not how that type of a setup operates.
I honestly didn't think we would get to see her at
I
all.
didn't either. I thought she would
So,
not come into the show as
yeah.
a
So
as
I
a
was like, "Oh, cool.
manifestation
Here we are."
physically.
You had put in the screenshots as well something very interesting about, well, they go through the fighting montage and stuff. They go back. There's something in the little trinkets he gives the heroes. He doesn't, an interesting point before we get to all this other stuff. An interesting thing that doesn't happen is he doesn't tell them that he's from another world, but they don't tell him either.
But he knows
And
that.
but he knows that.
And that's why he helped them, he
Yeah,
even
why
says.
wouldn't he tell them? Or would that compromise his position?
Exactly. That's what that's been the thing from the beginning. That's why he operates out of Parth and wanted to, keep his whole thing a secret. They also think that or I don't know. I don't even yeah, they probably never get told that he's a summoner. He just has everybody out for the whole time that they're around. So
Mhm.
he's just the green mage in a party or a tamer in a party, whatever you want to say.
That has a lot of
Good
overpowered
friends.
stuff.
Yeah.
In Good Friends. Claire says, "Come on, she doesn't even have boobs the size of the moon, much less Jupiter." Yeah, I was kind of let down by Milfina, no. But, the thing that was interesting about her about, this whole arc, there's, like, interesting tidbits here and there. One big one was that the first ruler of Toraj came from another world as well, rumor has it. What's happening? What's happening in the universe?
Yeah.
Why do they keep coming to this world from other places? And most likely it being Earth, because he says, "Oh, that looks Japanese," and I know this kind of structure and stuff like that. So, like, I want to know way more. We're on this little story, but I'm like, yeah, 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 yeah. Hold on. What's happening? Did this world start from nothing? Is this world built from? Is it all an illusion made by Melfina? Like, what? I want something grand. I want something huge, and they have potential, but they're not saying anything.
The
And
nuggets are there,
yeah,
but I
and
don't
I'm
know
just
if it's going to create a bigger picture, a bigger
no.
piece
I
at any
want
time.
I want it. I want it so bad because, like, we get that one little nugget. Okay, the first ruler Taraj. Oh my god, that's crazy. And then we meet Subaki Fujiwara, who's the current ruler of Taraj, and she has the hots for Kelvin too. And I'm like, what?
And
What are we?
another thing, where it points out, her last name definitely Japanese, and also
Mhm.
the first person that he's met to introduce themselves with the last name.
Yeah, but then they put in the whole, oh, you can please me more ways than one all day
Yeah,
or
then I'm
something.
just
And I'm like,
she
come,
already the
please.
whole can do you want to stay here and work for me part. That's already enough. We already get what she's after.
Yeah,
Obviously, she keeps coming to his room. Like we get it. Show we get it.
he does have
Yeah,
protagonist hair. Wait, that's not a positive. It's the hair, man. He's got it all. Look at him. Hell yeah, brother. I put even the queen wants Kelvin, which was kind of sad. I don't
Tsubaki
know, but
wants what Tsubaki wants.
then we get the introduction of teleportation magic,
Fast
teleport
travel.
gate, fast travel. Yay! We had some a crazy. This feels like Dungeons and Dragons a lot, which is really cool. Where it's like we had some trouble getting there, but then oh, we're just
Yeah.
back and we're going back and we're starting our next little arc
Oh,
here.
actually, it's not as easy as you think. You have to be there first and get permission from the administrator,
Yeah,
and that's
but
what
then
that's when I'm thinking Final Fantasy 14 again.
yeah.
Like, you gotta attune to the aetherite.
Yes. They did also bring up in this episode again the idea of slavery in this episode again, where they mentioned it, um that it was still going on here and that's still a problem. So I hope they still, I don't know if it was in this episode or the previous episode. I could have sworn it was in this one where they mentioned that it's still an issue and they're actually trying to do something about it. And I was like, okay, at least we're addressing it. And at least somebody knows about this and is trying to stop it. So I'm glad they brought that up again. Not glad that it's in there, but glad they're actually trying to fix
Acknowledging it.
acknowledging it. He buys a house because cool. Yeah, why not? Has
Hmm.
the two servants we met earlier, and they're going to be a part of the story. going further, and then we see Melfina. Again, it's a lot of slice of life with I can't change. There's a lot of slice of life with some action in there. And I gotta say, these 4 episodes were a lot better than the last 4 episodes, and I found myself
Way
enjoying this
better.
more, but I wouldn't have got here if I was on my own. I would have
No,
stopped at
I would
episode
have stopped.
2.
Yeah.
Um, while these are good episodes and I'm liking the characters more and I'm liking it's more funny and I'm like, "Oh, okay, here we are." It's a huge switch for me, and I think whenever we rate it next week, I'm gonna have to rate it lower because it's not something I'm immediately attracted to, and it's not something that I want in a story for me. And that's
Mhm.
on personal preference. It's not that it's a bad story.
Mhm.
It's cool. What's going on is fine. But I think it's me being an avid anime watcher, watching anime every week for this show. And I'm like, I want just something else. Like you have all these little nuggets of information that you're giving me, and I want it to be more grand or not even like fighting wise or anything like that. I
Yeah,
want
yeah.
some story in there, but it all just seems super surface level wavy along the ocean. Yeah, let's go here and let's do
Yeah.
this. Okay, whatever. And that's fine for a story. I'm just not the biggest fan of it.
Yeah. Again, it's like it's definitely something to be said about the way the show handles like the characters' problems where the first problem he had was, I need to get a slime in my party. I need to be able to fight a slime, and that starts like pretty intriguing and stuff. But by the time your problem is, in the episode, is I want to get another companion in my party, so I'm going to buy a female slave, and that's my motivation for the episode. You really, really have to do a lot to kind of recover from that. That's a big stumbling point, just to put it bluntly. But by the time I'm finishing these 4 episodes, it's like I wish that the show had set itself up better. That way we weren't recovering through these 4 episodes. We could just
Sure.
be enjoying these 4 episodes because it
Mhm.
was definitely a lot of recovery where I'm on guard. I'm on guard at this point through
Sure.
most of these 4. I'm like, I'm waiting for the moment where I just want to like hit pause and like step away. But that honestly didn't happen through these 4 episodes. It was they were at least enjoyable to watch. Where again, it was a little of the bad surrounding a lot of the things that I enjoyed. But the last 4 episodes had more 50-50, where it was like I was equally just enjoying stuff that was happening and equally full on not enjoying stuff that was happening.
Mhm.
For this one, I'm enjoying it, and then a thing happens that I don't enjoy, and we get past it,
Mhm.
but it's still there, and I acknowledge that. But yeah,
Claire
it puts me in
says,
a very weird spot for sure.
sure. Claire says you could watch it, sure, but whatever you wanted, there are plenty of things that did it better and were more focused.
Oh, 100%,
Yes. Um,
100%.
which is
I would agree with that so far.
which is why I want them to go above and beyond to make this story an outstanding story because it's a good story. But in the world of isekais, there's so many stories out there like this one that have done some aspect of it better. And I can see the gold here. And I think if they took another step to make it outstanding, it could
Mhm.
really be like a cornerstone of isekai anime.
Yeah.
But
Again,
they're kind
it
of go
like,
went the safe route.
yeah, like, again, I make the comparison of the first season of The Rising of Shield Hero really caught me off guard and how it was able to really throw a wrench in the traditional isekai and kind of turn it on its head in a lot of ways, and it didn't have to be in every way. You don't have to make everything be new and fresh, but just sometimes when you approach things with a different idea, the like, the implications that can then trickle throughout the rest of the show are
Mhm.
enough to give you a different storytelling device to use to make it X but Y instead of just X but less good, less
Mhm.
quality, less focused, making it a lesser than a comparison of, I guess.
So, depending on how the ending of this first season of Black Summoner goes, I think how I rate it is going to be dependent on where the story ends up and what leads it into a possible season 2. Because I think there is a season 2 coming out. There was also a bunch of Black Summoner novels I saw because I've been looking at manga to buy, and I saw that there's a bunch of new Black Summoner novels that are on the way that have some more story stuff. So I'm curious to see how this first season ends or where we actually go and what's going to be the big payoff to this whole season because
That's what I'm curious about.
we
Yeah.
just got introduced to the goddess we've been hearing about,
Yeah.
and now we have 4 more episodes to do something to end the season. And what is that? What is that going to be? What is that going to look like? I really hope I enjoy it.
Where
um
I'm at now, but versus where I was at the start of these 4 episodes, I'm very open to the idea that by the end of the next 4 episodes, it could propel itself into a place where I really, can give it a good rating, but I'm also open to the idea that the opposite happens, and I'm also open to the idea that it just kind of, like, holds its ground and just doesn't really do too much, and just kind of, like, sets up for the next season without really, having much of a high note that it ends on. I'm open to that being what happens as long as it does it in the right ways.
sure. But yeah,
I have a
next
lot of
week,
feelings. I have a lot of mixed feelings about this one so far.
this one I'm probably out of all the anime we watched, I'm the most on the fence of. So it's a first, I think, for me, where out of all the anime that we've already rated and watched, this one I'm like, okay, like Danganronpa for me, I was like, okay, I really enjoyed this, but this one I'm like, it could go either way. Like seriously up in the air how the next 4 episodes are gonna go is gonna be where I rate it. And it's just so odd that I'm just still indecisive on whether I'm having a completely enjoyable time, if I'm in the middle, or if I absolutely hate it. So next week we're going to be talking about episode 9 through 12 of Black Summoner. If you want to go watch it before then, before next Wednesday, you definitely can, so we can hear your thoughts about the anime as well. And we're going to be picking a brand new anime after that and going to be diving into that one. So after next week, we're going to be done with Black Summoner, done with the whole season, and then we're going to go on to another anime that is here. We still need to add a couple more to this list.
Oh, yep,
I
yep,
know we
yep.
have 2 more, Ranking of Kings being one of them, and I forgot the other one. But there's a couple more animes we need to grab and put them on there, but they are in the chest, and we'll be picking a brand new anime next week. Matt, whenever you're not whisked into another world, where can they find you?
When I'm not there, you can find me sometimes on my Twitch. Follow me on my Twitch at Matt_Galley. Right now, streaming on Tuesdays. Tuesday, isn't it? And
You
also
stream
follow
some
me.
City Skylines.
I was streaming some City Skylines too, and it was fun. And we'll stream other things too because we're gaming. But yeah, you can also follow me on all my socials at it's Matt_Galley. Just add an ITS at the front. When we're not here on the fence about animes we're watching, where can the people find you?
Claire said, first off, Claire said, I don't hate it. To hate it, I'd have to care about it. I am just bored. A little bit of that, a little bit of
Little bit of
boredom at
that.
some points for sure too. But you can find me on all social media at JulesTheHuman, at JULES the Human, on all social media, on Instagram, on X, on Twitch, right here, on YouTube, youtube.com/JulesTheHuman. You can watch all the episodes on my YouTube channel. And if you've missed the last episode, we talked about Black Summoner. If you want to watch the next episode of Black Summoner, it's on youtube.com/JulesTheHuman right over there, and on Spotify, just look up the Jules and Matt Anime Hour and you can watch the episodes all from Spotify. Wow, cool, awesome. Mac's next stream will be when he is reincarnated as a streamer. Whoa. A lot of love for Matt here. But
Reincarnated in a
next,
new world.
if reincarnated into New World and somehow I'm building cities, skylines, question mark.
I have S tier city planning.
Next week, next Wednesday, same time next week, we're going to be finishing up Black Summoner episode 9 through 12. If you're watching this on YouTube or Spotify, it comes out in the middle or in the morning on Friday. But if you want to watch it live twitch.tv/JulesTheHuman. And you can watch it live on Wednesdays. But that's the end. He's so smiley at it. I'm pretty sure they're talking about you, Matt. I have to make
Huh?
you an anime logo for this. Oh, an anime logo that says help. I got I got trans I got sent to another world and somehow I became a streamer and trying to become the next
Someone
Pokimane or
help me.
something.
I got reincarnated in a new world as a live streamer, and now I'm forced to play City Skylines all day long.
That's a great time. I'd read that. I read that. Jules Man Anime Hour. We'll see you next week. Bye.